You pretty much can't scroll through social media without realizing that one of your friends is either on a social media detox or a juice detox, or even coming across some type of advertisement that is selling you a detox product. Detox, detox, detox. It's everywhere. And although we're going to be talking about detox, this is a very different form of detox. And I believe every human being should do this on a daily basis. And so what I'm talking about is forgiveness. And you may be wondering why the act of forgiving is for me a form of detox. And the simple answer is that if we don't process our painful emotions, then they poison us. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to explain to you what detox is in the physical body so that then we can use this as an analogy to understand what forgiveness does for the emotional body. All right, so let's get started. And by the way, I'm going to do this very simply, just in a nutshell. All right, so we've been given this amazing body that has this amazing detoxification system. And basically, I'm going to use food as an example of how it works. So if we eat a food, we chew it, we swallow it, and we digest it. Meaning we break it down, and our body's innate intelligence goes through a process of discernment. So it basically realizes, okay, so this, for example, a vitamin, we can use so we can incorporate into our bodies because it's going to serve us, okay? It's going to nourish us. This other thing we need to excrete because it's either a poison or it's fiber or something that the body can't utilize and it just needs to be removed from the system. So in a nutshell, that's what detox is a process of discernment. What serves us, what doesn't serve us, so we can remove it. All right, so, and there's a little side note that I want to make here. And if our bodies are working properly, then this system should work naturally quite well. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are having either mitochondrial dysfunction or issues with their liver, and so this may compromise their ability to detox. And this is even more of an issue in today's world because we're literally being bombarded with so many industrial chemicals. And some people just simply don't have the capacity to excrete them. So there are some therapeutic interventions that can support the body's detoxification pathways to work more effectively. And so there's a lot of controversy around this because although there are some methods that are quite efficient, others are just scams. And so, you know, it's a huge controversy. So we're not going to get into that. I just want to bring this to your attention and then also present to you this understanding so you understand that the process of detoxification is part of your body, it's part of your physiology, and it's legit. All right, so now let's use that understanding to understand forgiveness in the emotional body. Okay, so basically, ideally, when something happens in our lives, we should be able to chew it, swallow it, and then digest it, break it down, and or break it down even further, and then connect with, okay, so does this experience serve me? What did it teach me? What wisdom can I draw from it? And what do I need to release and let go of what no longer serves me? But unfortunately, most people don't engage in this practice of emotional hygiene. And so what they do is they just basically swallow their experiences whole. They never digest them, and they just, you know, accumulate in their body and just poison them. And so what happens is something really interesting. And we have the experience, and then we obviously feel an emotion, typically a painful emotion. And what we do is, if we don't process it, then we start attaching stories to this. And we attach more painful emotions. And with time, we distort it and we make it seem worse and worse and worse. And then next thing you know, you're spending your day thinking about it and you relive it. And then it brings up all the anger and all the pain and everything that happened over and over and over again. And this is why I talk about this. And I say this literally poisons you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, intuitively. It chips away at your well-being. Okay, and so it's why it's so important to do this. And I devote an hour of my day, without exception, this is non-negotiable for me, to doing this. And, you know, the reason why I spend so much time is because you know, I have catching up to do. There were some things that, you know, I wasn't aware of that had caused me pain. And so, you know, it's just a process of bringing things up from the past, not so that I sit there and dwell in them, but so through this process, I give them purpose. And so what I do is I journal. And this is how I do this. And so you may be thinking, oh yeah, well, easier said than done. Forgiveness this, forgiveness that. But, you know, what I want to offer is that there have been so many painful ideas attached to the concept of forgiveness. And people think, yeah, easier said than done. I want to get even because I know that I'm going to take my power back when I harm the person that harmed me. And what I want to say from my own personal experience and my experience with clients is that typically is just something that locks you in a self-perpetuating loop of pain, and it just adds more gravity. It makes you feel heavier and heavier. And what I found is that forgiving is actually a process of freeing ourselves, of feeling like we're in a state of levity because we're not hoarding those painful emotions and experiences. And for me, this is actually an empowering process. All right. So now that I've helped you reframe that a little bit, what I want to do is I want to give you a step-by-step process to digesting our emotions and forgiving. And as we go through this process, you're going to, I think, be in a better position to understand why I say that this is a path of empowerment, okay, and liberation. All right, so basically, through this process of journaling, what I do is the first thing is I go into the literal realm. This is what happened. This is a tangible reality, what I experienced, or the facts, what happened. And then I connect with the story I attach to it, meaning the story I told myself about what happened and the painful emotions that I experienced. And I think that there's something very valuable in doing that because you're validating your own reality, you're validating your own emotions. All right, so once I do that, then, you know, I connect with my feelings of victimhood. I connect with the learned helplessness, with the disempowerment, anything that came up for me that took my spirit away, okay? And after I do that, I then realize that if I stay stuck there, okay, this is going to poison me. And most importantly, I realize that being stuck there is being stuck in blame and being stuck in a childish type energy that makes us feel victimized and attaches us to learned helplessness. And this is what keeps us stuck and what poisons us. All right. So what I do then is a rite of passage into adulthood. So I take my wounded little girl. Okay, I acknowledge her, and what I do is I reparent her. And how do I reparent her? I reparent her by allowing her to reframe what's happened. Okay, so now instead of connecting only with what happened to me, I allowed to go through a process of why it happened for me and what I learned through that experience. And so this allows me to do alchemy and take something so heavy into something that, you know, was and something that was taking my power away into something that now helps me feel free and light, and that gives me my power back. You see, and this is the key. So this is why it's a rite of passage from seeing things like a wounded, victimized, helpless child, and now seeing it as an empowered adult that understands that there was a purpose behind that experience. And so I want to talk about something else here, and it's that I hear people say all the time, things happen for a reason. And, you know, when you think about some of the horrendous things that have happened to some people, and I can include myself there in some instances, these things are not reasonable. It's like, how can I make sense of this with my logical, rational brain? And you know, you know, like I see, I don't think that the divine or source or whatever you want to call it, creator, operates with human reason and with our human judiciary system, you know, of justice. And, you know, I don't believe in that. I just believe that things don't happen for a reason. I believe that they happen with purpose. Because if I look back at my experiences and I try to see them from that rational perspective of things happen for a reason, things won't make sense to me. And it's very likely that I get stuck there. So what I do is I think about it from a symbolic place. So I take the literal into the symbolic, and I think about why it happened for me, and what was the purpose behind that experience. What did I learn? You see, this is the key thing here. And as I go through that understanding, then it allows me to see situations and people from a completely different perspective. In that now, I don't see them as people that are harming me. And, you know, I see it as, oh my God, these were my greatest teachers. They were meant to take my power away. And I was meant to get lost in the illusion of giving my power away to these experiences, so that eventually I could come back and look at it from hindsight and then take my power back through understanding and through purpose. See, I used to see my life as all these random events that had harmed me. But now, as I've looked back, and I don't know if it's a thing about age and wisdom or what it is, when I go back, I just see that everything that's happened in my life, and I'm speaking for myself, is just one synchronistic event after the other, after the other, after the other, and each one of these things were necessary to turn me into the woman that I am. It was like a process of molding me or grooming me to become the woman that I am today. So, and that wouldn't have been possible if I wouldn't have had all of those experiences. So all of those people in my life were working for me in a sense. So this understanding has just like changed my life and my clients' lives. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to do this on a daily basis so that you can maintain that emotional hygiene. And, you know, I know that for some people, just having this understanding is enough and they can run away and start practicing this. But for some other people, they may want to have some type of process where they're being guided through learning how to do this. And so if this is you, contact us at Bombshell Formula, where we can help you connect with the right level of support for you so that you can learn how to establish a new relationship with yourself about the situations that you have experienced, so that you can also understand that disempowerment was necessary in order for you to take your power back and become empowered. So I hope that this information helped and that you start applying this practice to your daily routine. A big kiss, and I'll see you soon.